And welcome back to the Authenticity Calling podcast. I'm your host, Ralitza, and today we have a very special guest, Michelle. Can you please help me pronounce your last name? Is it Cannan?
Cannan, yeah.
Much easier than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, much easier, much easier.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here. Michelle and I met at the Awakening Her Festival preparation meeting, and we just resonated. And I thought, wouldn't it be so great to get to know each other on the podcast? Because this is kind of what we do. So welcome, Michelle.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful to connect with a kindred spirit. Lovely to meet.
Thank you. It's
Mm.
so good to meet you. So tell me, I'm really curious what your talk is all about. So we're going to be having a talk. Sorry, my phone is on silent, but my computer doesn't get the message. So I
Mhm.
apologize for that. So yeah, we're going to be speaking at the Awakening Her Festival, which is starting tomorrow, January 5th to the January the 15th, 2026. And really excited to learn from all the different speakers and presenters, and just curious what you're going to be sharing with us. What is your magic all about?
Yeah. So for myself, and as you said, there's an incredible line of incredible women sharing some really powerful gifts, and all of our innate gifts. And for me, it's about awakening the difference, yeah. And for so long, excuse me, for so long, I see so many people over the 25 years of being in the well-being and transformational space.
Mhm.
We hide, which is no surprise, but it's time now. It's time for us to really activate. My talk tomorrow is, or actually your Wednesday, my Thursday, 1 p.m., is all about activating your difference. Yeah. So we've made ourselves so wrong for so long for the differences that we hold, our differences of opinion, our differences of perception, our differences of what we where we belong, yeah. And so we go through that adaptation, and our difference, that very difference that we've made ourselves so wrong for so long, is the difference that we are here to make.
Mm,
And so my contribution to the Awakening Her Festival and the collective in general is for us to now come into the empowerment of awakening that difference, to really understanding how to access it, to understand how we set up the imposter syndrome to protect us, to adapt so that we do belong. And it's a survival mechanism. And
mm.
we're in a very powerful time on our planet. I think I saw one of your lives the other day where you were talking about numerology in 1 year. It's like excuse me, and we're stepping into the Chinese, um, the Chinese
Fire
horse year, which
horse.
is horse
Yes.
fire. So
Yes.
there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of fire that's coming through. And I've been saying it for years now,
Yeah.
you know, the power of the people. We're waking up. And if we look at this globally, what's happening, we can either look at the shadow aspect of the chaos that's happening on the planet right now, but before chaos is order. And I feel there's been a huge awakening, which is why what really spoke to me about this particular festival.
Mhm.
Humanity is waking up. But what we need now is the tools to understand how to harness our gifts, to empower our gifts, to embody our gifts, to become that authentic resonance and frequency on this planet to show up and shine. Yeah. Because it's time. So we need to become that united collective field to tip this critical mass into awakening and be the ripple effect for the rest of the planet. And there
Mm.
is so many incredible pockets happening all over the planet. But what's happening with socials and what we see, 80% of what we see online is only 10% of the voice. My mission is now to support and contribute to the 90% of the silent majority coming forward now to unite, contribute, and activate.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. That is so powerful and so fitting that you're at the very beginning, right? Really activating those parts of us. Because I think a lot of the other women that are going to be speaking, they're speaking to parts of us, like different parts that are
Mm.
coming online. And but that uniqueness is so
Mm,
important to start with, right? I talk a lot about
mm,
authenticity, and yeah, the post that I had made, it was really likening our humanity sort of as a puzzle, right? And each and every single one of us are one puzzle piece. And so if we're offline, that puzzle piece
yeah,
disappears. And so the big picture is totally obscure. And I feel like that's kind of where we've been. A lot of the puzzle pieces have been off for a very long
yeah,
time. So much
yeah,
self-rejection, so much judgment, so many insecurities because we're trying to be something else that we see out there, right? We're trying to
yeah,
please all the other people, whether it's our parents, our spouses, our children, all the other people, instead of trusting and turning in and trusting our inner authority and diving into what feels true and correct and aligned for us, rather than trying to be someone that we're really not. At the end of the day, that's what it
yeah.
comes down to. So I love that you're activating the difference, that uniqueness, that really
Mm,
powerful gift that we are in the world that nobody else can copy.
mm.
And I just love
Exactly.
that because I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait, because this year, really, 2026 is so powerful. And, I had heard that channel right before I did the live, and it was really that reminder that yes, we're going from 2025, for the people that aren't into numerology, if you added up 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9, whereas moving into the
Mhm,
2026 it equals 10, right? And so a lot of people say 1 plus 0 equals 1, so we're going into a 1 year, which is all about starting over, all about creation, foundations, all of the things. But then someone also said that in another type of numerology, and I'm not a numerology expert by any shadow of, of my capacity.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
However, she said it's also a 10-year. And because of the
Mm,
passion behind the fire horse, because of the 0 actually represents infinity, right? Coming full circle, actually being able to
mhm.
complete what we started. So the 9 was supposed to be about completion, but if we go from that completion straight into one creation, we're not actually completing the circle. And so there's something about that. It's really tapping into the divine, right? So identifying
Yeah.
what is our uniqueness, but then with that uniqueness, and what I speak to a lot is that taking that inspired, surrendered, aligned action. But the inspiration comes from our connection with ourselves and the divine. And so when
Absolutely.
it's inspired, it's not inspired from the shadow parts of our world. It's not inspired from our ego trying to be enough. It's not inspired from like conflict, but it's really inspired from that thing that AI can't do, which is really
Mhm.
see our next evolution, really see our soul's calling, right? All AI can do
Yeah.
is look back and formulate something. It can't look forward into our soul,
No.
into our spirit, into our timeline. So I just think it's really fascinating because we get to tap into the real human potential. And in this space right now where people are getting so distracted with AI, and they're giving their
Mm,
own uniqueness and their voice and their power away by saying, hey, AI, can you create this thing for me? And it's like, if you took the time to create it yourself, it would have so much more depth, so much more meaning, so much more connection to the people you're meant to
mhm,
connect with. And so, yeah,
mhm.
I think we're in a really interesting space, and I'm excited for people to claim their birthright, to claim their difference, right? I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing you. It's that authentic frequency, that authentic resonance. I actually just put a quick meme up this morning, your natural beauty will always shine through more than any AI image. Yeah. Authentic resonance attracts authentic attention. And it's really the power. It is in, AI is a fantastic tool, a supportive tool. Yeah. But it's not, we don't hand our power over to that creative source. That is within, as you were beautifully saying, inspired internally, inside, from the internal access from within. And the desensitization, we're overstimulated, underintegrated as a species. And so,
Love that.
when we
Whoa.
come back,
Can we slow that down? Can you say
uh,
that again? Oh my God, can you say that again? Under,
we are overstimulated
uh-huh,
and underintegrated.
integrated. I love that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, we have to slow this down
not
because
at
that was an
all.
important one. I love that. So
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah. As a species, we are. We're overstimulated and underintegrated. And what we're being called now to do is to come into self-mastery. Yeah.
Mm,
And wherever those reoccurring life cycles, patterns, behaviors, emotions, for me, a lot of my work is fundamentally anchored in emotional intelligence. Yeah. I
mm.
started off as a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, 25 years ago. It's where all the pieces of the puzzle finally started to make sense to me. I've always considered myself the black sheep, yeah, and that's my tribe. I've always considered the black sheep are the silent majority. They sit back, they see, they observe, right? They don't so much go through an adaptation, but they will very much be in their own pockets. And my call is to my tribe now is to call those black sheep forward because they are the leaders of that unique perception that will stand strong and anchor now. It is time. It is time for that rising. It is time for that activation. It is time for that awakening. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes. Say it
catalyze.
loud and proud. I love that. It is so powerful, so needed right now. And
Mm,
there's
mm,
so many people that are coming online and they're just thinking, like feeling, thinking, saying, maybe not even saying, but turning internally almost like a pressure cooker, like they're about to combust because it's so clear when we're out of alignment,
mm.
right? And people are starting to
Yeah.
really wake up. Our human consciousness is coming online really quickly, and karma's
Yeah,
even
it is.
coming back super quick. And so, yeah, if if you're out there and if you're listening, and if you're at that stage, I just want to remind you to slow down because I know that there are going to be people
Mm,
out there listening and really feeling this frequency and this tightness. Like when I think of that type of dynamic in someone's body, it's pure chaos
mm,
because
mm,
what's happening right now is you're bouncing between what's possible and where you're at. And so, if, in terms of
mm,
alignment, what your unique purpose and passion and path is, if a 10 out of 10 is here, and if a 0 or a 1 out of 10 is here, it's constantly doing this. And so, the chaos that you
yeah.
feel within your system is so strong. In any given moment, anyone says anything and you just boom explode. And so it's interesting because I had
Yeah.
a client, one of my clients just came back to me, said, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know why people around me are so irritated, why they're reacting in such
Mm,
an irritated way. And it's interesting because we're
mm,
working on his alignment and we're working on really gut issues, but the gut issues start from a lack of integrity within, right? The gut breaks down
mm,
because we lack integrity in terms of how we show up for ourselves, right? We don't trust our
mm,
intuition, which is in our gut. We don't connect it to our
mm,
heart. We oftentimes go to the mind, the logical place, rather than
mm.
feeling into what's true for us. And so
Yeah.
as we're working with that gut and as he's tuning in more into his heart and into his gut, naturally emotions move. And so as they do, they're going
Mm,
to attract those kinds of reactions from other people, right? We are a mirror. And so, yeah,
mm,
it's just fascinating because really people are they're coming online, and the reminder here is really to slow down and become aware. And once we have that awareness,
mm,
we don't usually move to the next step, which is acceptance.
mhm,
Usually try to
mhm.
bypass the acceptance and go straight into some kind of chaotic action. But the
Yeah.
really important part is that acceptance and non-judgment and forgiving our judgments. And that's really where the freedom lies. But I'm so
Yeah.
curious, like how do you and obviously not to give away all your magic, but I mean, how do you help people to really realize their differentiator or that thing about them? If someone's listening right now and they're like, okay, well, I want to know what's different about me. I know for me, it was really hard to identify what's so unique about me. Like I had to ask other people. I had to, because for us, I feel like when it's so natural for us, we don't realize
Mm,
it's just something that we do, right? And we expect that
yeah.
everyone else does it and they don't. And then there's that conflict with our expectations. So yeah, I'm just curious, how do you help people to actually identify it within themselves?
Yeah, it's a powerful question. It's a really powerful question. And you're right, because we've gone through so much adaptation for so long out of that survival mechanism to fit in. Yeah, because if we didn't fit in our hunter and gatherer days, it was akin to a death sentence. So our nervous system recognizes that as a threat. Yeah. So whenever we show vulnerability in its unconscious form for myself, there's always an unconscious and a conscious expression to every emotion, to every action, which is why I mean, I have a podcast on the unconscious, what is empathy, the unconscious and conscious empath, you
Mm,
know, and I think this is a really important one as humanity, as we come online as well, is to be able to differentiate
mm,
what it is we need to feel to heal. And so when we come out of that desensitization, when we come out of the numbing, the overstimulation, the instant gratification, the distractions, and as you beautifully said, slowing it down. Less is more. Quality creates quantity.
mm.
And what I've created is a process, which I will be sharing elements of it in my talk. I think it's 7 p.m. your time,
Okay.
1 p.m. Thursday our time, where I show you how to translate. As humans, we haven't been taught how to translate our human experience, which is why 90% of the time we are living from here up. We need to feel to heal. And understanding the power of sensory perception, that it's never about the behavior, it's what's driving the behavior. And that starts at that sensory perception level that activates the whole neurophysiology for us to be able to intercept the old biofeedback system, learning how to translate that experience in its negative form. And for myself, in the early days, I was in full-blown complex PTSD. And it was when I was driving home one night, a blanket. I had a lot of trauma in the first half of my life, which, you know, as it does, the dark night of the soul leads us to the gift we are here, which is another clue. So it doesn't always have to come from a deep, dark trauma. But in my case, I had a lot of reoccurring life cycles, patterns, behaviors, and emotions in the
Mhm.
first half of my life, no matter what work I did, no matter how much, you know, whether it was for meditation, whether it's to cognitive behavioral therapy, whether I did every modality,
Mm,
every acronym, but I would get insight and understanding,
mhm,
but I wouldn't get the full transformation. So I
mm,
created a 5 phase transformational process to show people how to move from fear to freedom, from limitation to liberation, from pain to love, etc., etc. And so I'm going to be giving insights into how to unlock and access that beautiful potential that you were talking about, because in Latin, potential means power, right?
mhm,
And so when we understand how to come into that inspired deep action, to move through the upgrade of the central nervous system, which most experience as anxiety. And again, I'll be speaking into that in my talk, but anxiety is an indicator that you are going through an upgrade. We
mm.
just need the tools. And this is the chaos on the planet right now. You know, since 2019, there's been a lot of people coming online, becoming aware. I'm not too sure if the next step, when we become aware that we've been in this sleep state,
Yeah.
but the tools haven't been given to humanity to know how to process and translate to then transition and transform. We can't transform if we don't understand what we're transforming through. And when we understand, we no longer fear. So when the anxiety is coming through, it's an indicator that you are going through an upgrade, that there is a gateway to the next level of your freedom, inner freedom. Yeah. Until we have inner freedom, it's very hard for us to have global freedom. And so when we understand that that place is from within, and the activation of that difference that you have always had, either sitting in, just niggling away at you, or as you were beautifully saying, it's in this full blown, let me out, let, let it out. And the more we try and suppress, stifle, adapt, it's the best part of impossible now. Yeah. And as you beautifully said before, that karmic cycle, for want of a better word, is coming around quicker. It's quickening. It's a quickening. What we put our attention on now is almost instant.
Yes.
And when it's in alignment, it's an activation. And I'm not saying, you know, the acceleration as far as speeding life up, because the trick is, again, as you beautifully said, slowing it down,
Mhm.
slowing it down, quality over quantity. And so I'm not sure if that fully answered your question, but it's understanding the unique difference that you are here to create that only you can on this planet. You have come in with a significant life path. unlocking the generational cycles, receiving the gifts, and I'm from both the masculine and feminine to come into the divine union within you
Yes.
to emerge in the rising of the truth that you are here to serve. And when you serve your highest truth, when you're in alignment to that highest truth, you serve the highest truth of all. And
Mm,
you will attract your tribe through that energetic field, through the emotional intelligence. Negative emotions are the activator of our potential. We just got to learn how to translate them.
So much juiciness. I got full body chills when you were saying that earlier around that activation. And it's so, so powerful to step into this, to hear it, and to actually do the slowing down. I think there's so many people on the planet that have done so much learning around personal development. Again, like you said, staying in our head. For those people that are listening, that aren't necessarily watching the video, Michelle was saying that we often live from our head, right? We don't drop down further than our chin. We don't drop into our heart. We don't drop into our gut. We don't drop into our sacral. That's where our creation is meant to begin, right? It's not meant to be this logical, practical, hyper masculine when we talk about energy, masculine and feminine, the masculine being more of that doing energy, more of that logic and structure and reason, and the feminine being more of that sort of freedom and flow and creativity and that intuitive, that downloading space. That's why we, in my talk, it's on the 13th, I'll be talking about, it's called Unleashed, because it is really about unleashing that which you're talking about and then actually moving forward. Because I feel like until now, we've been doing so much healing, so much like digging and uprooting and ancestral and this and that and all the things. And it's like, okay, now we're at this place where, when the things come up, where there are so many tools that we have to deal with them, now we can move into the next step. And I think the next step is so underutilized and underperformed, is we don't really get into the next version, which is that aligned action. But again, not coming from that place of forcing, not coming from that place of logic, not coming from that place of trying to prove ourselves or perform or put that mask on, but coming from that really devoted, in tune, aligned place within ourselves of receivership. It starts with the feminine of receivership and getting that download, that divine connection to inspire us to do something that's our soul's purpose, our calling, something that lights us up, and that passion that gives us life force energy. And it's so important to honor. So many people that are feeling drained and exhausted, and this is why, is because you're serving an energy that is not your own. You're pouring from yourself into something that, number one, you probably don't believe in, right? Number two, it's probably out of integrity for humanity, right? And or yourself, which is usually both. And it's something that, you have guilt, shame around, right? And so a lot of judgment. And so you live with that, then that causes contraction in our body. That's what causes disease, right? Like a lot of people talk about, I studied medicine. When it was time to go and do my residency and get licensed, everything inside of me was like, absolutely not. This is learned it to be in it, to change it, not to practice it, right? And so, and I love and I honor and I appreciate all of the people out there who are licensed and practicing medicine, because we absolutely need, certain elements of it. And there's also, other parts of our existence, the spiritual side. I always say in medicine, we're ignorant at best of the spiritual side of our humanity, right? And if we ignore that and we're only paying attention to the physiology, we're missing so much of the energetics. I used to teach biochemistry, and so a lot of it is just air, right? And so I'm really curious to dig into that anxiety that you talked about, because I was just watching a Netflix episode about essential oils and how they actually have been really helpful for children with autism, for example. And the only sort of essential oil that's been really well studied and kind of, has that efficacy. There you go. Has the efficacy
American
behind
said,
it is that lavender. So lavender versus lorazepam, they were the same efficacy, which, it's
mm,
fascinating. We don't
mm,
talk about it. And the FDA, so in North America, you cannot say that something is efficacious if it does not have a pharmaceutical in it. So we already know that
mm,
like that is a whole slippery slope. I use this Korean
mm,
skincare brand I just started using, and all of our
mm,
teaching behind it says you absolutely cannot say that it heals any kind of scars. It heals hyperpigmentation. The hair product, you cannot say that it grows hair. It does, but you cannot say that because of
mm,
rules is FDA. Like it's really important not to cross that boundary. And I'm just like, man, this is the world that raised me, like the medical world that raised me. It's so ass
mm.
backwards. I, for
Yeah, I
me now,
hear
I'm
you. I
identifying like,
hear
oh,
you.
yeah, yeah. So I'd
Hear
love
you.
to
Like when
know
I was
more
in
about
China,
embodied.
yeah, yeah, powerful, so powerful. And thank you for giving voice. Thank you for giving voice to such a fundamental aspect of human well-being. Yeah. When I was in China finishing my internship in the hospitals over there, the Chinese doctors would say to us, you Westerners, one leg hobbling, because it was so beautiful to see a functional medicine, working for Eastern and Western wings within the Chinese hospitals. Yeah. So we would work on the patient's preoperative, build their vital force, build their energy. They'd go in and they'd be in and out of hospital in a fraction of the time they would have been otherwise. We'd have kids with cerebral palsy. We'd work on them for 3 months on the wards, carried in, playing chasings up and down the hallway, by the time we left. Same with stroke victims, James. The body is a self-healing mechanism given the environment to do so. And we are seeing again these pockets of functional medicine all over the planet happening now. And it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing. And I think awareness needs to be brought to that as well, so people know they have choice. And I think this is the fundamental piece that's since 2019, humanity's been waking up, going, well, what I thought was truth isn't truth. Up comes the chaos and the anxiety, which you were just speaking into, because everything I've known is no longer known, which is the safety mechanism. If we stay inside the known system, we stay inside the known cycle, we stay inside the known pain, it's better than going to the unknown as far as our central nervous system is concerned, because that last time you went towards that unknown, i.e., being happy, which is a big one for humanity, it's for a lot of people, happiness isn't safe because if they go there, they end up feeling let down. They hurt, they've opened themselves. This is the vulnerability that I was speaking to, the unconscious vulnerability versus, excuse me, the conscious vulnerability. Yeah. And so it's in that vulnerability that we truly connect when we allow ourselves to know where that anchor is, that gut intuition, intelligence, the soul's intelligence. I mean, from a Buddhist perspective, the soul enters and exits through the dantian, the second, the dantian sits just behind that second chakra. So, from the Buddhist beliefs, and there's quite a few other science papers that have suggested the same thing, that once we understand where that enter and exit point is, the one point, and in Chinese medicine, we use that one point a lot as the reset, yeah, the reservoir to fill all other energy channels, yeah, moves out to the kidneys and fills the reservoir,
Oh,
so to speak, the chi, energy, the life force. And that vitality and feeling alive is what people are craving, to
mhm.
feel alive. We access that unique difference and we come online and we activate. Yeah, we're
Oh,
awake.
I love it. Oh, I absolutely love it. Okay, so
Mm.
anybody out there that's experiencing anxiety, we've got good news for you. This is a good thing. You're coming online. I love that.
That's
Absolutely love
it. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But we've got to be able to be comfortable in the uncomfortability.
it.
Yeah. And I can speak from this from firsthand experience. When I was in the full-blown complex PTSD, it was uncomfortable. And when you have the tools to know how to move through that process, to intercept, to be okay with being uncomfortable and the uncomfortability, because on the other side of that is, it's a universal law
Mhm.
where this chaos is a precursor to order. Yeah. The uncomfortability is the precursor to true comfortability, not known comfortability of the old cycle that no longer fits, that you are no longer that world that you feel you should be grateful for, or that world that you're just done and frustrated with, whatever that world is, your world is, wherever there is a negative experience, and 80% of the human experience is negative.
Mm,
So we're told to move away from it. We're told it's bad. We're told it's wrong. In fact, we're actually being called to lean into it because it's the gateway through to freedom and the upgrade.
mm, I love that. That's so, so powerful. Recognition that that's even 80%. So I do timeline therapy, and we
Mm,
call them the seven negative emotions. I don't love identifying any emotions as negative, because
mm,
then again we have a judgment about them, right? And then suddenly they're
mm,
bad because but to me, my anger, as much as I've been told you need to go to anger management my whole life, that has caused me so much self-rejection when I get angry. But the truth is,
mm,
after going through, coaching and learning and there, all these different things, realizing that
mm.
actually our anger comes up when someone's pushing our boundaries, right? When we're out of alignment, when there's something out of integrity. It's such a beautiful part of us that says,
Wow.
you don't get to do that to me. And a lot
Yeah.
of times when we feel sadness, that sadness is actually lower on the vibrational frequency scale. And so we go into anger as a protective mechanism, right? And so even
Mhm,
being able
mhm,
to have that range and that depth of being able to feel is so important, because we talk about emotions as just energy and motion, and I'm sure that also has to do with that freeing up of that life force, right? Being able to move. We can't
mhm.
get to enlightenment if we're not willing to feel all the different levels that are stuck in those frequencies. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
just so
100%.
powerful. So powerful.
It is. It is. It really is. It really is. And again, this is the book I'm writing, the Dictionary of Emotions. And so understanding how to translate the unconscious and the conscious aspect of those emotions. Yeah. There is no wrong emotion. But what I will say to anger right now is it's the phoenix rising. And we haven't been taught how to use that power, harness that power for transformation. So
Yes.
again, it's wrong. Let's move away, suppress, override, brings self-doubt, which brings internal disharmony, disease, which brings, there was that beautiful documentary a while, I think it was probably it was probably longer now, 5, 7 years ago, Emotion. And there was a doctor in there, they're starting to do infrared scans. And so when people get angry, the liver lit up. Liver in Chinese medicine houses the emotion of anger or flow. Yeah. So when the anger is coming through, and this is what we call the co-cycle in Chinese medicine. Yeah. And when we know that every organ in our body houses a certain frequency that is non-physical, yeah, those frequencies are emotions that we house in our body. In the heart is like the camera that beams up into the mirror of life, manifestation. So when we understand how to translate the emotions and the feelings that we're experiencing, we need to feel to heal, we unlock those frequencies and we shift. We no longer create a life by default, we create it by design because we're in alignment and we understand the bigger picture. We don't
Mm,
get pulled into that story, the old story that we just keep churning and burning and gnawing on like a dog with a bone. Yeah. The more
drama.
we keep reaffirming, yeah, yeah. The more we keep reaffirming that old story, and as you beautifully said before, we keep living it. So tell me more about your talk. I've been doing all the talking. Tell me.
Exciting. No, it's been amazing. I love that. I love our dialogue. I would love to tell you
Mm,
about my talk. I'm curious how you got here, so I want to know more about that. But I will say, the just to complete kind of what I started saying earlier, because I realized too while you were talking that we didn't get to the whole thing, but the unleashing is really that taking that, inspired from the feminine, and we all have feminine, whether we're whatever we identify as, man, woman, he, she, doesn't matter, they, them. It's not about the identity. It's about energies that live within us, for those who, aren't comfortable with that terminology. I have a feeling our audience is going to be very vast and wide. So excuse my
Yeah.
mansplaining or womansplaining, whatever we want to call it.
I love it.
All the
I love
labels.
it.
But no, it's really about taking that inspired, surrendered, aligned action,
Mm,
right? And I think the part about the
mm,
surrender is the part that I think, forever be learning in my lifetime and this time around, is, really not being attached to the outcome and recognizing that everything
mm,
that presents itself in our life has such a powerful opportunity for us to show up fully. And, a lot of people say, oh, life is testing me, or, but I'm like, well, is it testing, or is it giving you an opportunity to practice your new skill? Because you just promised to yourself that this is how you're going to show up tomorrow. And now you have to put it into that action. And so, what a beautiful opportunity, right? And so, there's
mm,
a lot of those
mm,
reframes that we do when I work with clients. But at the end of the day, where we want to get to is a place where we can actually trust in our, connection in the divine, and trust that inspiration is coming from that place of, it's already done. And so the universe will always serve, it will always come, and you will always magnetize every next step. So, not having to micromanage it, not having to hold tightly onto the outcome, not having to really know what the timeline is, because when we work in this spiritual space, we collapse timelines and then we expand them, right? We slow down time when we slow
mm,
down, right? And so we're not
mm,
constantly in a rush to get to the end, because it's not about the end. It's about, really being in the journey at all times. And so when we're
mm,
able to hold that presence, and I just, I listened to this talk on telomeres, and how, the reason that they decrease is because of stress. It's not because of aging, or it's not because of time.
mm,
And so when we live in
mm,
that presence and in that constant, inspired, surrendered, aligned action, it's just step after step, and we're dancing and we're flowing and we're enjoying, and, things become so
mm.
synchronistic all the time, because we're tapped in, right? And the more
Yeah.
people that are able to come online, the more of us that can get out of that automated zombie mode that you were saying. We're out of touch with our feelings, our emotions, our body's wisdom, right? We're able to
Mm,
actually weave into that synchronicity and that harmony for everyone else. Every step that we take, it activates other people's, timelines,
mhm.
other
Ripple
people's
effect.
synchron. Yeah, and so we're all begin to flow. We become the tapestry that we were made to be as a humanity. And it's just so beautiful. I'm so excited for 2026. And you're right, there's a lot of chaos on the planet. And if you turn on the news,
Mm,
there's no doubt that, in anyone's mind, that there's a ton of fear mongering. There's a lot of reasons to be scared. But at the same time, I think we're facing that sort of duality where, what do you do with that information? Right. Last night I
mm,
was sitting up, and it's so funny. I had just posted an invitation to the retreat that I'm hosting in Aruba. And if you know where Aruba is, it's 30 kilometers off the coast of Venezuela, and the United States just bombed Venezuela. So
yeah.
2, 3 hours after I posted it, I'm watching, my feed, and all of a sudden I see this. I'm like, that can't be true.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it is, and so it's just so funny, because my reaction to it right away was, I'm not taking my post down. That's
Mm,
interesting that it's coming up right now. What's that about? And, really tuning in and seeing, the timing. It's important for me because I noticed it. Right now, does it have to do with everyone else? No, but for me, I noticed it. So that's where we have to tune in. And I think it's interesting, because sometimes I'll use chat, like you said, as a tool, and I'll ask it a question. It's changed. It
mm,
used to be very much in that sort of feminine space of spirituality, and it used to give you, like, break it down right away. I have a few chats that are specifically made for that. But now it's programmed to be much more logical, much more in the masculine, much more protective of going into the spiritual. It's very interesting. I don't know if you've noticed that at all.
mm. No, I haven't. I
That's
actually don't use it that much. Yeah, yeah. I've really intentionally, yeah, steered away from it. Yeah, there's the occasional question, or if I'm want some suggestions on reshaping a sentence, that's about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about all I've used it for so far.
That's important.
Yeah.
A lot of us are using it. And it's funny because I've been testing different AIs just to see what they're capable of. And every time
Mm.
I create something, my son, he just turned 11, and I play it, he's like, that's AI. And he gets angry. Like his
No.
internal response is, no, that's not
Okay.
okay. Right. It's like I
Yeah.
think it was a
Interesting.
video of me or a video of, the Aruba retreat, for example. And he said, oh, that
Mm,
sounds terrible. Like he's like, you can't put
mm,
these things on your social media. It's not you. Don't do it. And even
mm.
he, as an 11-year-old,
7 years old. I
feels
love
that,
that.
right?
Bless
So
him. Yeah.
it's so
And it's
important.
interesting with the Gen Zs and everything, they're going back to digital, they're going back to analog,
Totally.
they're having parties, they're putting their phones in the bag when they walk in and getting their phones on the way out.
I
It's
love that.
again full circle to authenticity and connection.
Mm,
Vinyl is coming back in. It's brilliant.
yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. My husband is in IT and he's studying a lot about programming with AI. So I'm not ignorant to what AI is about because I'm getting it all through
The
him.
background story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I'm on the wave of what's going on, and again, when we understand, we no longer fear. So it was like this big boogeyman energy of, oh my God, AI is going to take over humanity. And I mean, we do have to be conscious. We do have to be conscious of transhuman versus human consciousness. And I really believe with enough of us coming together on this planet now to really advocate humanity has choice. We just need new tools to know how to master the human experience, to come online for the superhuman consciousness that we have to access. Yeah.
Mm,
But we've been in suppression, in permission, we've been asleep, we've been under, you know, let's leave it at that. And
yeah.
we're waking up.
Yes.
We're waking up. Yeah. We don't need to go into the story. We don't need to. The power is within. We have 50 trillion cells in this body with zero point 0.0 volts of potential energy. Imagine accessing that, bringing heart, head, and gut online and having the activation of us hitting these gamma brainwaves and being a light being of love that activates. The power of love is it's just it's not understood. It's not understood. And when we understand the true source energy of love and the light source of this, I mean, 99.999% of this body, quantum physics tells us, is space. Where like point this it's not even 1% matter. And it is whether this beautiful temple through which we reside, through our soul gets to express our mission, yeah, our mission. And Buddhism has been saying it for years, and now again, neuroscience is telling us the same thing that the sensation, that uncomfortability, we can transform in 90 seconds. In
Mhm.
90 seconds. We don't have to be stuck in that story, churning and burning, repeating on order, on that loop. We have the ability, we have the capacity, and we have the gift to move through a process in 90 seconds. Not 90 days, not 90 years,
Right? Not years
90
and years of
seconds.
therapy, like literally
Yeah.
90 seconds. Yeah.
Uh, like 90 seconds. Yeah. We don't have to be stuck. And like you beautifully said, this is the year we've done the healing, we've done the generational, the
Curse
unlocking.
breaking.
There's
Yeah.
always going to be more refinement and alignment in that space, but it's not, doesn't have to be this arduous, drawn out,
Yes.
long process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've always said, the power of observation. We have passive, active, and transformative. We've come out of passive. We're now in this sort of management state. And again, this is my contribution to humanity now. I'm coming out strong to share the tools. It's 25 years of me creating my signature process. And a lot of on the ground, being in the trenches, dark night of the soul to get here. And now I feel very ready to share this on set. I mean, in my beautiful little hub here in Australia on the Gold Coast, I have a very strong community and a very strong, thriving, transformational, business clinic. But now I really feel the call to unite with beautiful people like yourself, and this is where the magic is now, us uniting, coming together, yeah, and shining bright.
I love that. Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. I'm feeling called. I'm like, I know I'm going to be in Australia sooner or later. I'm going to come visit you. I really feel that resonance.
Please.
Yeah, I would love to come
Yeah,
see you and yeah, meet your
yeah.
community. And it's absolutely all about getting in community, right? Like we've seen what happened
Hmm.
in 2020 to each individual person when we were told we have to stay inside, whether it's by ourselves or with one or two or other people or our household or whatever that looked like. But man, the impacts of that on our human capacity and consciousness was just shocking. The good thing was
Mm.
that we all got
Yeah.
to be with ourselves for a little bit, right? And really
Well,
ask those
that was the
questions.
gift, wasn't it? It was, the irony,
It forced
and
us to slow
you
down.
know,
It forced us to slow down at the end of the day. That was definitely a gift.
yeah, reconnecting. And now if we had the chance to cultivate that again, I just bring it back to choice. And so many people that I get the opportunity to journey with, from creatives to corporates, from family to professionals. It's so many people don't know they have this choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And once they know they have the choice, the conscious choice, they access freedom. They
that's
really do.
that's
No,
right.
no system can control that. No system can control that. External system, that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's make the
Yeah.
decision. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, I've been talking about trouble. There's so much resonance between your even the verbiage, the language, like the way that you speak. I just love
Mm,
it. It's like you're speaking for for me sometimes. I love it because it's so powerful and important. The more of us that come online and that actually start to live
mm,
this, I do believe
mm.
healers. I believe that we're all healers, and it is about awakening the healer within, right? Like you said earlier.
Mm,
And it's just it's powerful to be able to be in a space and in a community of people who can reflect that and have the compassion,
mm,
self-compassion first and foremost, right? But compassion
mhm,
for
mhm,
our reactions, knowing that, oh, I am here actually sometimes to trigger you, and you're not going to like me
mhm.
sometimes, and that's okay. I still love you.
Yeah,
So we can always come back, to each other with that compassion. And I think, communities are just going to be deepening, and it's going to be such a beautiful way to show up, when you find your spirit tribe, and, you finally
mm,
you're seen for the first time in your life by so many people all of a sudden. Like I really see that coming this year. And I think people are
100%.
finally
And
realizing.
heard. Like, you can hear me? You
I
can,
can
like
hear
now,
Yes,
you can hear me?
exactly. Can you hear me? Hello, you can hear me?
Actually hear what I'm saying here, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's all we want as humans, to be seen and heard for who we are in our unique, authentic resonance, yeah? And we can feel it. And that's the other part, like that intuition is coming along stronger and stronger, but we haven't been taught how to trust it.
That's right.
And so when we go against and we fight against what we're feeling, then we end up taking misaligned action,
Yes.
which is calling us into that alignment. Yeah. And it's that trust. We haven't been taught how to trust the human experience. And trust is such an intrinsic part of the upgrade. Yeah. Trusting in self, trusting in the process, and
Mhm.
trusting in life, trusting in the translation of the life experience, even in the darkest of spaces, because that's where your greatest gold can be found. And I
Mhm.
don't believe we have to do it through pain anymore. But if you are experiencing pain, it's your gateway to freedom. Emotional pain, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I coach, I volunteer coach for chronic pain patients, and even physical pain, a lot of it actually is non-physiological. And even the one that can be physiologically identified. I mean, as you said, certain organs hold certain emotions, right? And so oftentimes when we go somatically into the body, I do a lot of somatic coaching. And so when we go into that body that actually feels physical pain, there's always a memory or a story or a lesson or, some sort of that opening, that 90 seconds of feeling, that release that we get to learn. We get to become more aligned. We get to, inner stand and show up for ourselves more fully. And when we integrate it, and then we can actually move forward and forgive the judgments and leave them in the past, and move forward into that inspired, surrendered, aligned action. People have told me, like, I didn't know it was possible for my body not to feel pain.
Yeah, beautiful.
So even physical
Beautiful.
pain
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
it wants to be
Yeah.
felt and seen.
And
And
have you found in your experience that when the physical pain becomes manifest, the physical form is the end result of an incredible amount of, we've had an incredible amount of warning signs again that we have not been taught how to translate before it comes into the manifest of the physical form, because then it's got our attention. Yeah, it's like, can you hear me? Can you listen to me now? Can you please be with the part of yourself, be with me, the part that was abandoned in a time that we did not feel seen, heard, loved, or safe. So when we can turn and face this part of us, be with that pain, love that pain, that is the ultimate act of self-love, the ultimate act.
absolutely, holding that presence is so, so important. And yet our
Yeah.
pattern is to say, no pain, go away. And when we do that,
Mm.
we enforce it, because guess what? It's going to scream even louder to be heard. It's just such an irony, the way that we're, I'm not even going to say our nature is, but we've really been taught to deal with life in such an oppositional way.
Isn't
Yeah,
it? Isn't it
exactly.
ironic?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it ironic? And
I've
this is
just
what I
been,
always say about transformation.
what's
Sorry,
that?
sweetheart,
No, no,
go.
go ahead.
No, you-
Go, go.
No, 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 I wasn't going to say. And this is the thing I always say about transformation, the irony of it. It's never linear. It's never what we think it is. It's never what we see is such a fraction. The unseen is so much more powerful.
Absolutely.
And with transformation, it is so cryptic. It's never linear. It's never logical.
That's right.
It's anything but logical. And when I see people get it
Yes.
through the five phases, and they're like, oh, oh,
Oh,
the magic word I hear is that is so much relief.
yes.
Once I hear that word, if I had $1 for every time I heard, oh my God, what a relief, and I watch the body drop, yeah,
Wow.
and then they come into this place of leaning in to become empowered in their experience. Yeah, but transformation is anything but logical. It's very cryptic. It's extremely cryptic. Yeah. And again, that translation piece. Yeah.
Absolutely. Ah, it's such a blessing, such a joy to be with you, to get to know a little bit about your gifts and what you'll be sharing at the festival. I'm really excited for your talk, so I look forward to seeing you there. And
Thank
I'm
you,
looking
Maggie.
forward to connecting again. I have a feeling we have a
Mm.
lot of work to do together. There was
Mm.
in 2020, I really sat down and downloaded a lot of what's coming, and it's time now that it's coming into creation and into it's that activation stage of it's called Up to Health Global. And the whole point here is activating the healer within and bringing people like yourself to share their gifts and tools and call people forward and just create a global community for this.
Yes,
So
please.
yeah, I have a feeling we're going
Yes,
to be,
please.
yeah, so intertwined. I'm so grateful for
Oh,
you.
I will look forward to that, Jenny. And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Together we are stronger, right?
Absolutely.
Together we are stronger.
Yeah.
And I
And
can't
some
wait to come
people
to
say,
Vancouver. And
oh, there's competitiveness or there's, like this, your thing is this and my thing is that. And I'm like, I just don't believe in competition at all. So
no,
show up that
yeah.
way, together
That
we
is
can do
such
so
a
much more.
beautiful thing to feel that, to truly feel that authenticity, right? For me, it's all about becoming a thriving human ecosystem. Competition means that we're still in protection and survival and a lack mentality. When we come together, I've got goosebumps. When we come together and we unite in this way, beauty, we become a thriving human ecosystem. Yeah. And we become this incredible energetic pulsation of life force that just keeps expanding and calling in and to tip the critical mass into awakening. And we only need 10% of humanity to do that. We
Oh,
only need 10% of
yes.
humanity to do that.
Yes, I love it. And we're honestly, I think we're pretty close to
I
there. If
think
not,
we're on the precipice.
we're there, yeah.
You know, if you turn on the news, you probably wouldn't feel that.
Well, that's what we have to probably keep it off.
Yeah, right. If you're on socials or, but my invitation is just to keep finding what your expression of self-love is.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce Lipton did an incredible test on the subconscious mind. 95% of people in the clinical case study came up with not having any programming of the words I love you, meaning self-love, which means 95% of people are waking up to the power of self-love. Yeah. The truth of who we are. And when we come online with that, when we really understand that, we're unstoppable, we're unwavering, we hit the next level of gamma waves, consciousness, and we activate.
Mm.
Yeah, we activate into superhuman abilities.
I love that.
Mm.
Yes, that is so
Mm.
beautiful and so juicy. I was going to ask if you have a pearl to share with our audience, and there it is. So you're reading my mind already. I love you.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. Thank you for coming online and activating others. Such a beautiful
Mm.
gift. I'm so excited to co-create with the divine, with you, with all of our, brothers and sisters on the planet. Oh man, it's 2026 is going to be the beginning of something so powerful. And yeah, and
Yeah,
it's already here. It already is. So thank you
it is.
for being a
It
vital
is
part of
done. It is
it. It is
done. It is
time.
done. And thank you for reaching out and inviting me into this beautiful connection. It really has been an absolute honor. Yeah. To feel that real heart resonance. I mean, you're in Vancouver, I'm in Australia, and I feel like we're in the same room. So thank you.
Absolutely. I could hug you right now. I absolutely feel that. Thank you, Michelle. That is how we're going to activate everybody. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure we
Namaste.
will connect again very soon.
I look forward to that. I
Have
will
a
definitely look forward
beautiful day.
to it. An
Take,
evening for you.
thank you.